I didn't
Okay.
start voice channeling until June of 2016. And that's not when I met Lily. I met her years before. But I started voice channeling her at that time for other people.
Okay.
But
So you voice channel Lily Stargazer, and who else?
Lily Stargazer, Lily with her, and then Dr. Uh, Simon,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. James Simon. He's an energy healing doctor who is human, who lives in Colorado in the year now 2068. I met him 3 years ago in June, 3 years ago. And I was introduced to him by Lily when I went to see her at the inn.
Ah,
That's
wow.
how I met him.
Uh-huh.
But Lily, she was the first one, and she started out actually the connection, the Irish connection. I didn't start channeling her for a while after that, but the Irish connection was when my husband, Fred, passed
Mm-hmm.
um, on December 21st, 2012. You know, that fabulous transition period that we were all celebrating around the world, the end of the Mayan calendar and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he died at 11:11 a.m. that morning.
Oh, wow.
And I was booked into Bashar for that
Mm-hmm.
weekend. And so I was there. And then at the very end, Bashar called me when he said to April, as he usually does, what time do we have? And she said, well, we could have, one or two more people, call out their names. And he said, no. He said, there's one. He said, on Ellie Keith, and he called out my name.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so after the woman stopped, when she stopped talking, and I came up, and if you want, I can just back up. The green connection was actually from when my husband was in the hospital and he was dying, and he saw um, he put out his hand, his arm, and he said, "Look behind you." And I said, "What do you see?" And he said, "I see a I see a room full of people." And he said, "They're all green." I said, "They're green?" He said, "Yeah." And I laughed and I said, "Oh, well," I said, "they're probably just our ET friends. Everybody thinks they're green."
Mm-hmm.
And so we laughed, and I said, "They're your guides." And then that was the only time. That was like on Wednesday, and he died on Friday. But that was the only time that we had that conversation. But then he was a half hour later after that, he was on the other side, and I
Wow.
was channeling him, and he has become one of my major guides.
Wow.
Yeah. And Bashar told me that night on the 21st, um, he acknowledged, she said her husband had crossed, and he said from physical and an unphysical reality at 11 a.m. And that was and he said it was a clear crossing, a joyful crossing, and a communicative crossing. And he said at the time, I would almost say chatty, which was very interesting because my friend Pat, who I always go to the Bashar sessions with, who's my neighbor and friend, I had said to her after coming back from the hospital, I said, wow, on Wednesday when he, had crossed over, I mean, we were chatting all the time from Wednesday night until he died Friday morning. And I had said to her, gee, I said, he was more quiet in life, but he sure became a chatty Cathy. So it
Mm-hmm.
was very interesting that Bashar brought that up.
Oh,
And I said, yeah, I said, he became a chatty Cathy. And he said, yeah, because all limitations dropped away. And
oh,
he said, and then the true spirit shines forth and has a lot to say.
wow.
Right. And then he said, I'd have some images, which I never have had, a flood of images to look for, especially those coming from the Emerald Isle. And I said, the Emerald Isle, because I was thinking of the contact crystal for some reason when he
Uh-huh.
was saying that. And I said, "You mean like the contact crystal?" He said, "The Emerald Isle on your planet is Ireland." I said, "Oh, Ireland." Now,
Mhm.
as soon as I sat down, I knew then that's why Fred saw the people as green.
Oh. Uh-huh.
So he said, "Yeah." He said, "That's a strong connection there to that place from that spirit," meaning Fred.
Mhm.
And that he said, "There'll be a lot of other surprises and everything for you and pleasant dreams." But so that
Mhm.
was the first sort of introduction for that. And then actually the next night, uh, that was on a Friday night. Saturday night, which was December 22nd. That was the first time Willa came through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, and she spoke very briefly for the first
Uh-huh.
time. It was just sort of just an introduction to her.
Sure.
And when she came through, and it was just before the break, okay?
Mhm.
And when she came through, I felt her energy, such unconditionally loving energy. It was so strong, the connection. I had tears rolling down my eyes
Wow.
from the connection. Now, I will tell you that because this is so very interesting, I think. Uh, I have acrylic nails, okay, that and the polish has always was always sort of a whitish with a little pink tint to it
Mhm.
that I had been wearing. I don't change polish because I like that. It goes with everything. So during the break, I went to the restroom, okay? And so I'm sitting in the bathroom stall and I look down at my fingers, the the nails, the nail color on all of my fingers had turned a bright orange with black and smoky
Mhm.
gray flames. It was absolutely like somebody had painted it on and it'd be great for Halloween.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh, wow.
I mean, they had just instantaneously. They were whitish. When I left to go to the bathroom, that was my regular nail polish,
Oh, my.
and yeah. And when I came out of the stall, this is what I had. And Erica, Daryl's wife, sits at the back,
Mhm.
and she always knew what my color, fingernails, because I always had the same color for years. And I showed it to her just to make sure that it wasn't just in my bubble reality.
Uh-huh.
And then when I sat down with Pat and I showed her, and that was absolutely phenomenal.
Wow.
And then the interesting thing is, so then the next week I went to have it changed back to my nail. It wasn't my regular nail. I went every couple of weeks, but I had to get those that polish off of there, or that look off of there. So I had a nail change, polish change.
Uh-huh.
So my girl, who has been doing it for like 20 years, she was so surprised, and I told her a little bit about it. And so she did my regular whitish pink. I left there. An hour later, they were orange, but
Oh, my.
they weren't that bright, horrible orange. This was a bright orange with the black and gray streaks. It
Oh.
was they were orange, but they were happened to like orange, so they were one that I could live with.
Uh,
Well, from December 22nd when they changed, okay, every single 2 weeks I'd go in and I'd get them changed, and they would turn orange again. That
hmm,
happened until June of 2013, 6 months later.
my. Well,
And go ahead.
well, why was who was doing this? Was Willa doing this, and why?
Well, I that was interesting because what I did is I had a private uh, with Bashar, and I asked him about it, and he told me that it was from her energy, um, that he said that there was resistance to the energy, and I said, well, I thought, well, it's not resistance on my part, you know. So, what is that about? And he said that it was just the energy and getting used to her energy, and that's how it went through me. It went totally through me, and that's how the energy uh, came out in my body.
Wow. It's neat.
Yeah, and we've always had a very I've always had a very strong connection with Willa. I have not to this day um, examined what our relationship is, other than Lily, because she
Uh-huh.
and Lily are very good friends.
Uh-huh.
But I know we have some. I'll have to look into that one of these days.
Yeah. Sounds like you do have some sort of other connection with her too, with Willa.
Right. Yeah. I think it's rather strong.
So is Lily also doing the 5 levels of mastery?
Oh yes, she
Mhm.
Lily is a parallel reality specialist, and she is on the team, Lily's team of 33 parallels.
Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So she's one of Willa's team, definitely.
right. Yeah,
Mhm.
and there are only 33 parallel reality specialists, as Will has always said.
Uh-huh. Wow, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, well, since we're on this topic, do you want to talk about what you offer as far as I had a session with you, which was 2 sessions, which were very fun and insightful, um, where I went with a guided journey with Lily Stargazer, channeled by Ellie Keith, and we went to Future Earth, and we had a lot of different adventures. And how about you just tell us how that goes and what you offer in that department?
Well, Lily, I started channeling Lily for others in 2016. But at that time, she was working with people for about 3 years with their belief systems. Okay.
Mhm.
And then it switched. See, we went in 2019. She started. I started in 2017. I started going to the inn and Lily was showing me around
Mhm.
so that I could get used to her timeline.
Okay.
Okay. And when I was there also, that's another stream, but she introduced me to Dr. Simon. But when I did that for a period of time, and then I she said, let's have people, they can come to the inn and to the tavern at the inn. And of course, it's in Port Dublin, Ireland,
Mhm.
700 years in the future. And so in 2019, we started, the first people started visiting her at the inn. And what you do is it's all done by phone. And I call you, okay, and because you had the session, so
Yes.
that you are energetically in the inn,
Mhm.
and she's acting as a guide. She brings people there for who she feels be good for you to meet, and and the energetic is actually you're like a hologram. You show up as a hologram. That's what your energy is.
Uh-huh.
And you know that you could see very well at the inn.
Yes.
So we offer sessions to anybody, and with you, that was the first time that we did a group of 4,
Mhm.
and so I now offer anybody else with a group of 4. That's about all we can have that works easily. Um, so anybody that wants to make a trip to the inn and meet some of your parallel lives or just other beings. I mean, people have met. I had one woman who actually was then when she was in the tavern, then she was on the ship, Essassani ship,
Yeah.
And one of her parallels was showing her some of the they were in like a bay. I mean, this was like a mothership. This was a huge ship, and
Mhm.
the way she was describing it, and she was showing her the tools that they use for healing and that for energy healing, and she got to actually work with it herself with some of the patients or whatever, in the room.
Mhm.
That was quite interesting.
Yeah, and in my session, I got to work with an accordion from the future, which was very interesting.
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that. An accordion, that was so
Mhm.
you guys, the red pepper, what was it? The sweet red pepper, is it gang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
You guys you were so great because then you were the first one up, and then you said to Lily, can the others join me? And Lily said, yeah, of course. So then they joined you. There was music, you guys were dancing, and
Mhm.
then when, because each person, I'll describe it, that each person of the four, you each had your own room and to meet the people that you came for, so you each had your own special session, but then when the others joined you, then you could interact that way, and so then the other three after that did the same thing at the end in their rooms. I mean, you guys were at the end, you had a conga line going out to the terrace, and you were meeting other beings there and tasting their drinks, and then you came back, and then you guys were eating food, and that was such a delightful trip.
Yeah, it was. I have to say it was very fun to go to Future Earth with my soul family. Those people are part of my soul family. We have relationships outside of going to the tavern.
Mm-hmm.
We chat every day, and so it was just really a wonderful way to connect it in a different dimension together. So
Right.
thank you guys for that, you and Lily.
Well, as an observer, as Ellie,
Hmm.
as the observer, being there because I'm a conscious channel,
Hmm.
I just found it so delightful.
Hmm. Well, yeah, that it is. It was very delightful. Have you gotten to share that with others?
No, nobody else.
Mm.
Uh, I haven't gotten the word out there other than, just mentioning it, and you mentioned it, in the Bashar group, but I want to start promoting that.
Uh-huh.
Visits to the inn and also group visits to the inn, uh, because, like, your own experience. The four of you were you were all so great because you were really all right there, so vivid and interacting not only in your own session but with each other in it. That was very, very special.
Yeah.